If the season ended today, okay, the guy that currently leads the NFL in yardage and is tied for fourth in touchdowns might be one of the representatives for the NFC in the Pro Bowl.
I don't think might be. I think you would be. You would have Dak, who's killing it. You'd have Jalen Hurts, and you'd have Sam Howell.
Maybe Goff would get some consideration.
Okay, Goff could get some love there too.
But yeah, I mean
he's in the mix.
He would be in the mix. It's a very.
I don't think he would be
chance.
in the top 3. You're sleeping on Brock Purdy.
Purdy would get some consideration.
You're sleeping on the NFC quarterbacks.
Well,
I mean
he would be in consideration.
If he's not in the top 3, he's in the second tier.
He's right there, and it's just interesting to, when you put it in perspective like that. It really is having a remarkable season. And it kind of comes on the heels of, who was it that I was reading? It was Richard Sherman I was reading last night. He was kind of commenting about Trevor Lawrence. I'm sure you guys saw those viral comments.
Yeah, he's not a Lawrence fan.
Yeah, he's like, this guy's supposed to be, this great thing. Like, where's the greatness?
Kind of disappointed. Like, he was showing signs toward the end of last year, maybe in the first couple of games this year, but he's not as consistent as you would like.
Like,
if you, overall pick.
It's not. I don't think it's the most important statistic, and it can be somewhat fluke, but he's only got 9 touchdowns. He's throwing for 235 yards per game.
But like when he's facing off against Brock Purdy, he needs to have a better showing. Like he has to lead his team against the Niners and keep that game competitive, and he couldn't do it.
Right. He's got 2,100 passing yards. Howell's got over 2,700. Now I think Howell's played an extra game more than some of these other guys, so I think they'll ultimately be passed.
And he also has a top running back in Travis Etienne, so a lot of the offense goes through him.
Mm-hmm.
But his season has been underwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, his QBR is higher than Howell's, but his regular quarterback rating is much lower. I don't know. It's just interesting. But Sam Howell clearly winning people over. It's his 3rd good game in a row, which obviously bodes well for him in his future. I think it's getting close to that point where no matter who they bring in, they're probably going to say, "Hey, this is a good deal. We got a 5th rounder on a rookie contract here who can give us a couple more years, and it'll cost us nothing."
Unless the wheels fall off, he's going to throw for 30 touchdowns. And if you told me that before the season, I would have been like, okay, you're high. Sam Howell's not going to even come close to 30 touchdowns. You'd be happy with like 22 or 23.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have 30 touchdowns.
Well,
especially they're going to be in some trailing game situations with 2 games against the Cowboys,
he stays
the
healthy.
Dolphins, the Niners. Like, he's going to throw for 30 touchdowns, and he's going to
The math is it.
He's going to tickle.
The math
40.
would get him to 29 on his average right now.
Okay, so I round up to 30.
Okay.
It's 4,500 yards passing. Like, those are the sorts of numbers he's flirting with.
Right.
It's pretty crazy.
So the PFF grades came out, and speaking of PFF, so Hal finished 4th amongst the Skins, his 68 rating. The highest rated commander was De'Ami Brown. Now, he only played 11 snaps, but he did have 2 big plays, right, on his 2 targets.
Take advantage of your opportunities.
Brian Robinson, very highly graded. John Bates, Sam Howell, Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin, Charles Leno. Those are the top half guys offensively. By the way, just one other note on Howell. He still leads the NFL in big-time throws.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
whatever that's
the
worth.
Brown one was a big-time throw. And I thought the one to Gibson, he had a guy right on him. He couldn't really extend his arm.
Yeah, no, I thought it was pretty incredible. And then the bottom half, just if you're keeping track, Chris Paul, Curtis Samuel, Tyler Larson, Jahan Dotson. The O-line in general, other than Leno, didn't grade out that well, according to PFF.
Just a tangent. Russell Wilson's touchdown after the spin move, that was a big-time throw. I don't know if you watched that play. He gets flushed out of the pocket. He does a spin move, rolling to his left. It looked like 100% the ball was going out of bounds when he threw it. He was on about the 25-yard line, and I think it was Sutton who caught the ball and dragged his toe. If you haven't seen that highlight, it's worth checking out. Unbelievable throw. That guy, by the way, I don't think he's particularly great, in terms of yardage or anything, but he's got 18 touchdowns with only 4 picks this season.
Who, Russ?
Russ is having a
Yeah.
resurgence.
When the Broncos got 70 hung on them by the Dolphins early in the season, I thought that team was going to win like 3 games. They're 4-5. And they have a home game against Minnesota this upcoming weekend. They can get to 500. I'm kind of surprised by what they're doing.
Watch the highlight of the play. It had to have been, like, if Next Gen Stats has it, it has to be one of those plays which has a 1% chance of completion, where he's doing a spin move, rolling to his left, throwing to the left, and it looks like it's just like he's heaving it way out of bounds, but he puts it in the perfect spot, and there's the toe drag. They had to go to the replay, and it was ruled a touchdown.
Trav, do you have thoughts on Russ?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm rooting for his success, kind of, now, because I want his legacy to be intact. I don't want him to be a laughingstock. But he's 4th in the NFL in QB rating. I mean, it is definitely a bounce-back year.
You actually really care about his legacy?
Of course. You think if Ovechkin got traded, you'd want him to be a bum? Of course you wouldn't.
I mean,
You think you would abandon him if he got
brought us
traded?
to Super Bowl.
You wouldn't abandon him.
I generally care about the players I care about when they're wearing the laundry that I root for.
So hold on. If Ovi got traded, you would bail on him. You would start trash talking.
I mean, I wouldn't trash talk him, but I know that my level of interest in him plummets.
Well,
by
I don't have.
Yeah, but he's just saying.
99%.
He's just saying you still want him to be regarded as a great player.
His career with like the Jets or something.
I still know that Ovi is a great player, no matter if he winds up on the Dallas Stars at the end of his career. Like his legacy is intact already.
I understand, but in your mind, is he still the hero? Like,
I only conceptualize him as a Washington Capital.
right? Okay.
That's the way my brain works.
Maybe it's a little different because it was a very ugly divorce, but it's been a few years. I don't have as much animosity for him.
Right.
But he brought us a Super Bowl. I mean,
Did you watch that play?
Yeah, of course. It was
It's
great
pretty
for him.
incredible play.
And I know that Ovi's not going anywhere. He's going to finish his career right here in D.C.
In all, I would agree
mean,
with that.
He's not going to wind up in Denver or playing for the L.A. Kings.
I thought he was going to end up playing for the Dynamo.
No, he's going to play here, and then he's going to go over to Russia and play probably till he's 50 and get big sacks of money from a Russian oligarch that owns a team over there.
So I know, just getting back to Commanders for a little bit, we've been kind of talking about, the offensive coordinator, obviously Eric Bieniemy. We were talking about Jack.
There was no
all
firing
season.
yesterday.
No
I know that we
fire.
were kind of
Nobody-
hoping for one.
Nobody got whacked. Where they rank so far through 2023, offense clearly outperforming the defense. They're actually 11th in the league in passing yards, which, I mean, not surprising. They're passing like 75% of the time. 28th in rushing. They're scoring 21.7 points per game, which is good for 17th in the league. So is that down a little bit after Sunday? Because going in, weren't they like 16th? I think.
Hey, you know
something
what?
like that.
They're going to get a bump from what they score this weekend against the Giants because I fully expect them to score in the high 20s, if not the low 30s.
You'd expect that. They only scored 7 against them last time.
That is true. I expect
Wind.
an offensive bounce back. Yeah, what's the weather report for Sunday, Valdez? Can you check that for me?
Yeah, I'm on it.
See what's going on at FedEx Field.
Defensively, they're currently 0.3 of a point away from being the worst defense in points allowed in the NFL.
Gross.
Only the Broncos are worse, giving up 27.6 points, actually 0.2.
And their defense is better than the Commanders. Okay? They only gave up 22 points to the Bills last night, forced a bunch of turnovers. Now, Josh Allen, he's got an interception problem.
He loves throwing picks.
But the Broncos, they're weighed down because they did give up that 70 points to the Miami Dolphins. At the end of the year, and currently right now, they are a better defense than the Washington Commanders.
Might be a poor game for Howell.
Okay.
Wind gusts 30 miles an hour.
Ooh, gusts of 30? Wow, that's pretty high.
That's very high.
But you
That's
think
not great.
it'll be good for Tommy DeVito?
That could no.
I don't know.
Here's what
I
it's
don't know
good
about
for.
Tommy
B-Rob.
DeVito's win game.
It's good for Brian Robinson. Is that? You know what? Brian Robinson's gonna have like a buck 50
It's true.
this
Some
weekend.
some quarterbacks are better in win than the other.
I know
than
you're
others.
doing that shtick, but
I'm not. I don't know why you think I'm doing shtick. I'm not doing shtick.
I know wind is a factor, but I never have thought for a second that Howell can't throw in the wind.
Hey, that might be an issue that the associate head coach Eric Bieniemy can figure out.
Well, the wind.
I mean,
wind's
do
gonna
you have
impact both
throws
of
that
them.
are evidence of that? Or
I just know the one win game where it was the breeziest. He had the worst statistics.
Well, he was also pressured the most, right? That was a Wink.
He got
game.
sacked 6 times.
Yeah, I mean, Wink was all over his ass.
I listened to my man Dave Richard when it comes to weather impacting quarterbacks. He says rain, snow, that they can play through that. Wind is the thing that impacts them the most, especially if it's over like 25 miles per hour. So there is something there.
No, there's no question wind effects.
Yeah.
No question. I don't know that there's enough evidence to say that Howell struggles in wind.
Yeah, we're going to do a study.
I have one win game where he played like
We'll
butt.
commission a study.
A win game / also the most aggressive defensive coordinator in the league harassed them into.
Well, if you can't throw in the wind and all your receivers are running 5-yard outs, it's not
and
hard.
remember,
It's not hard to cover them.
That was before they shored up the offensive line.
Yeah.
and stopped calling.
They
all
were
the
still
5 or
doing
7
longer
step drop
drops.
back.
It's
You get
okay.
sacked.
I'm not saying Howell's bad. I'm saying he's bad in the wind.
Yeah,
You're taking offense to my wind rating.
No, I just don't think there's evidence of it yet. You just have one game in a windy spot, but that wasn't the only factor.
Why are you upset? Weren't you part of Wind Ensemble?
Yeah, you love wind
No, I'm just saying.
instruments.
I don't care what he thinks, but it's crazy that he's acting like this is a thing. It's not a thing.